So if you've been scrolling through social media, like Facebook or Instagram, you've probably been absolutely bombarded with ads for this thing called MagAir.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty much everywhere. Marketed as this, like, revolutionary mold breakthrough.
Totally. And the core claim is just huge.
Yeah.
To say 99.8% elimination of mold spores within, what, 2 and 3 days?
Yeah, 2 or 3 days. And using, quote, NASA-grade ionic technology.
That's a grade. Okay.
Right. So our mission today really is to take a deep dive into these viral claims. We want to check them against the facts we could find.
See if it's a real solution or maybe just, incredibly savvy marketing that hits you emotionally.
Exactly. Is it genuine or just well packaged?
Okay, so let's unpack that marketing first. It's pretty dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
They claim it supposedly sends out 20 million negative ions per second.
20 million. That's the number they use.
Yeah, and they say it's not just cleaning the air like a filter, but it's destroying mold deep down, like inside your walls, in the vents.
Which, I mean, that claim itself is fundamentally different from how we typically think about, say, a HEPA filter or even standard ionizers.
Oh, so?
Well, typically, negative ionizers work by charging particles in the air, dust, pollen, maybe some spores so they get heavy and fall down or stick to surfaces.
Okay.
But destroying mold inside walls, that's a much bigger claim. And you have to ask, is 20 million ions a second even a scientifically, meaningful metric here? Or is it just a big number meant to sound impressive?
Right, like more is always better. And they pair that tech claim with this really powerful emotional backstory, don't they, about James?
The former NASA ventilation expert. The story goes his wife got seriously ill from mold exposure, and that spurred him to create this device.
It's a compelling narrative. And then they layer on that sort of classic conspiracy hook.
Ah, yes, that the big established mold cleanup companies are supposedly trying to get MagAir banned.
Yeah, and that's why you can only get it online, directly from them. Adds to the mystique, I guess.
It definitely does. But what's really fascinating, or maybe telling, is the complete lack of independent verification we could find for that whole story.
Really?
Yeah, we looked. There's a serious science gap here. We couldn't find any clear scientific evidence, like peer-reviewed studies, or frankly, any trustworthy sources backing up MagAir's specific performance claims against mold.
Okay, but negative ion technology itself isn't brand new, right? It exists.
It does exist, yes, but its effectiveness, especially in real-world scenarios, and particularly against established mold growth, not just airborne spores. Well, the reviews and studies on the general tech are pretty mixed. Some suggest limited benefits for particle removal, others raise concerns about ozone production with some ionizers.
So mixed at best for the general tech.
Mixed is probably generous when you're talking about deep mold remediation. And beyond the tech, we just couldn't verify the origin story. This James, his supposed NASA background, it's all very murky.
No clear link found.
Not one we could substantiate. And then there's the physical product itself. When you actually look at the MagAir device shown in the ads,
Yeah.
well, the sources we reviewed point out it looks strikingly similar, almost identical sometimes, to very low-cost air purifiers you can find sold in bulk online from, say, Alibaba or similar sites.
So potentially just rebranded.
It certainly raises that question. A basic, inexpensive unit potentially rebranded with this very dramatic, very specific narrative attached.
Wow. Okay, so let's connect this back for someone listening who might actually have a mold problem. How does this compare to what real experts say?
Well, that's the crucial disconnect, isn't it? Claims like 100% mold removal or no maintenance, they directly contradict how actual mold issues are professionally handled.
Because real remediation is often messy and difficult, right?
Exactly. Real mold problems almost always require finding and fixing the root cause. That means addressing the moisture source, fixing leaks, controlling humidity, improving ventilation. Often it involves physical removal of contaminated materials like drywall or insulation.
Not just plugging in a gadget.
Definitely not. Relying solely on a device, especially one with unverified claims, can give a false sense of security. It might distract you from tackling the underlying issue that's allowing the mold to grow in the first place.
So the takeaway here really seems to be about skepticism, doesn't it? Like the moment the story and the emotion seem to outweigh the actual science.
That's when you need to pause and ask harder questions. If the main arguments rely heavily on these emotional backstories, unverifiable credentials like the NASA link and stock footage, rather than solid published evidence, extreme caution is needed.
Yeah, proceed carefully.
And stepping back, thinking bigger picture here, it raises a really important question for you, the listener. When you're dealing with something like mold, are you focusing your effort and maybe your money on just eliminating a symptom you can see, like the spores in the air? Or are you addressing the actual cause? The leak that's still dripping or the
Yeah.
damp basement that's feeding the growth underneath it all. That's really something to think about as you research actual certified solutions for mold problems.